Hi guys, welcome to my channel again. This is GM mainly right here, and this is the recap of Game 8 in the FIDE World Championship matches in 2024 in Singapore between England and Gukesh. As you know, so Game 7 yesterday ended in a draw, but it was a very dramatic game, right? When Gukesh was close to winning, I think like at least for a few times, but then they set the game with really resilient defense and obviously I think really good plays for too. So today Ding was white again, and we all want to see if he can be able to do well or be able to create some chances with the white pieces, right? From his games, I think game 2 was good draw, I think so. Game 4 was also pretty the same with like with A3 rating, and game 6 was a little variation, which I mean was not too bad, but in general did not go very well as well too. So let me try and see things here, and now we get game 8. Let's see if he can be able to create some chances right now at this point. So here in game 8 he plays c4. So this one is full of everything, right? Game 2, e4, game 4, knife 3, game 6, d4, and game 8, c4. But this one I think should hardly come as a surprise for Gukesh, because Ding is always known to be a player who played English a lot in his career. Obviously, Gukesh replied right away, e5, c3. Obviously, we can play like g3 as well too, but I mean, it's another line. c3, which should be 4, d5, which should be 7, main line still, f3, it is somewhat rarer. The main line is like d4, f3, even g2, 5 or 2, you know. Plenty of things here are available, but in the game, they chose f3. d6, g3, still the main line here, so it's not that surprise. Obviously, they never played before, but this was played a few times by by Fabiano Caruana, some strong players, so I think it's not a surprise that Gukesh should be very well prepared for this line. c6, knight 7, knight 7, g2. And here, so Gukesh just play a new move. At this point, from my engine, from match.com books, I realized that there are only 2 games right here with castles of light. But obviously, Gukesh was very well prepared. He played f6 right away. So, you know, people may be a bit worried and may feel a bit, uncertain about this move, because this looks a bit weakening, right? This looks somewhat weakening. The king side right here. But the good thing about this move is that it defends the pawn on e5 and make d5 become available. And black here clearly wants to be a strong center, isn't it? d4 here allows e4 right away, and then you can see that the pawn chain and the center looks quite good in the black's favor, right? So this is a good move here that I think will surely be played again in the future. So in the game, Ding got out prep at this point right away. Guess he thought for 40 minutes. 3-6, still play instantly with Gukesh. b3, d5 right away again as well. And here, Ding went for a very interesting ideas. Bishop a3. So it is move 10, and Ding already start using some time on the clock, while Gukesh still, got only time here. But now this one is a pretty cool move, because here with this move, Ding shows his intention to sacrifice a pawn. But if like there's this pawn, he will be in trouble, because right now white can have plenty of activities, with all the pieces, with all the bishops, diagonals, all the things here. If you play here, for instance, queen c2, bishop here, rook d1, right? And now I think white will have incredible activities here, for instance, and now I think it is black who lose material instantly. So here in the game, obviously, Gukesh didn't want to allow that. He just castles simple move, c1 and a5. Okay, so I think let's stop the opening at this point. I think so. Obviously, we got a new game, you know. But here I think we can somewhat stop the opening because right now both players have some, I mean, like show their intention and finish their development a little bit, right? So for White, he has kind of finished his castles, finished his development. So here, get out here as well too. Bishop are placed in the main diagonals right here, but somehow the main thing is that he needs to figure a plan. D4 always seems not good because of E4, right? And somehow White is struggling have got to play. For Black, although he doesn't have bishop pair at all, he got a very strong center. That clearly seems giving some chances, right? And somewhat an easier play. At this point, I think we can only see that playing like here is much easier. Also, we can play like knight here, knight b4 to block bishop on a3, so the pin here also will not be that threatening. In the game, knight 1 was played by Niren. He wanted to push f4 and trying to fight for center, right? If not, it is not easy at all here to find the moves, to activate the pieces, and to fight for some more space. In the game, we was play here, get out of the pin, f4, logical choice, takes, and now the game enter a pretty interesting and I think instructive middle game, which I think is pretty positional. So, although White has managed to kill the pawn on e5, but in the meantime, his king is somewhat weakened, right? And his pawn structures become a bit ruined. For Black, he is pretty solid, has no weaknesses, and I think his plays feels much simple as well. Here, Black can have plenty of choices. He can play maybe knight here right away, or go like knight here knight d4, which is what I recommend earlier. But in the game, after some thought, Gukesh went for another option. dc4, bc4, knight e6. He just traced the rook over here as well too. Queen e4 can become a thing here at some point, right? Also, the pawn on c4 in fact can become some sort of weaknesses. In the game, if it was play, centralize the rook, but to be honest, it always feel like can be chased away, right? When I watch the game live, I'm a bit surprised that somehow Gukesh didn't play f5, which for me looks pretty annoying here. e3 only move and f4. When somehow it is Black who can obtain some kind of play, right? But I mean, maybe White can play rook g3 and for here, I don't know, which should also be somewhat troublesome. So in the game, Gukesh play knight a6. Much more safer choice, I think so. Knight c2, activate the knight. c7, prepare to put the rook on the d file. Knight d4, f7 indeed. d3, knight e5. It's gonna see, right? The main thing is that Black is so solid, so it's not easy here at all to suggest what can White do to obtain some activators. For Black, he can prepare like knight b4 or some kind of b5 at some point. Maybe bishop g6 is also available as well. I think here it is easier to play for Black, objectively speaking. Knight f3, offer to exchange the active knight in the center. And Black also refused to do the same thing. The engine recommends that knight bishop here is very strong. Because right now, so it forces White to know way to go with the rook, you know. I think Ding will likely put f4 here, you know, but then knight b4 can, I think for me looks pretty annoying here as well. This can be a threat. And also here there can be a pretty cool ideas of like queen b3 and boom. When the pawns are being taken and Black can have like a rook and two pawns against the two mana pieces. But here I think it's gonna be doing quite well for him as well too. In the game, Gukesh went for the options. 37. Simply retreat the knight and trying to play it safe. So here, as you can see, Ding only had 27 minutes left, while Gukesh still 51 minutes, and now it's only moved 20. So once again, it can be said at this point that The opening phase of the game once again went well in Gukesh's favor, right? Take here, B1 and B5. Exclamation mark. I feel like here Ding should have made this idea because right now take here allow the check, right, and the pawn here can be taken back. Once the bishop now is open, and black can even try to create like passers on the b file. Maybe here, so I don't know, maybe bishop b2 is better or queen d2, I don't know. Or maybe kh1 to get the king away from this potential check in this diagonal, right? That feels more natural. b1 here for me is an inaccuracy. b5, nice ideas here by Gukesh, obviously. Takes, checks here, kf1. It is odd move, but king h1 here is even worse because right now queen f2 can become available at some point. And if black can play queen f2 and go like here, for instance, white will be in huge trouble. So kf1 was playing the game. Also, it covered the pawn on e2 as well, which can become a weakness in some specific variations, right? So in the game, so b5 to the pawn back, bishop b2, and black grab the pawn. So right now, I have read the Twitter.com chat that people think that Ding is in huge trouble at this point. He's down on time, he drops the pawn. These two pawns can become the connected passers in the game should he force play. This is, I think, the main trick of Ding Liren. So queen b8 allow rook a1 and the pawn f5 become weakened, right? Queen b7 I think also allow like maybe knight h4 and somewhat the similar idea. Queen c7, the pawn here. So here black has these two moves, knight c5 and knight c5 here. To be honest, this is quite hard to understand which one is better, you know. And in the game, I think Gukesh failed to understand it. So in the game, play knight ac5, which I think is also inaccurate at this point. Knight ac5 is better because right now, rook c1, say here with f7, right? So it will be somewhat different because right now, so this is available. Like here, for instance, right? But if you play knight c5 here, for instance, rook c1, bishop f7, let's say here, right? Queen c2, and now this will be somewhat different, isn't it? Why now there can be some chances, and like d4 can also be a thing as well too. So it's not easy, like to understand the differences between these two moves, and it's also quite subtle as well. So in the game, Gukesh misplayed a little bit, which is a bit a pity, right? Rook c1, bishop b3 was playing the game. This is also an odd move here, so I think bishop to d5 can be the best one, I guess, or like before right away is also looking pretty good here. Queen c2, b3, you know, trying to go for the passers. I think this one will give you the best chances, you know, when whatever it is, black gets strong passers, and one must be very precise because bishop a5 and d3 will be devastating instantly, right? In the game here, so I can feel the pressure is getting to Gukesh. You know, obviously we need to give credit for him for his fighting spirits, but I think he is still a bit young here and somewhat inexperienced. But still, he has been playing, I think, overall really well. Should be 3. I think that he just want to see like queen here, text and text here and here, for instance, right? But obviously, didn't work for that. Queen e1, exclamation mark, played instantly by Ding. The thing here is suddenly that these pawns become weakness. Also, the pin looks annoying, right? Queen here, allow this one right away, which loses a piece. And queen e6 here, also queen to a5, right? Or queen c3 when the pieces are becoming loose, which is not good by any means, isn't it? So in the game, bishop retreats, queen f2. And the pin now, you can see here, feels very annoying, right? Rook c8, bishop e3. Once again, a new pin arises. d4 looks very annoying too. Queen a6 here, lose the piece. Queen b7, the same. In the game, Gukesh found the best defense. b7, and d4, bishop f7, and knight c6. the interference, which wins material for Ding. But obviously, the game is over yet. Touch, 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 and touch. So, I think you can see how interesting it is, right? Like how things have changed from the few moves ago to now. I think right here, so winner d5 here, Black can doing incredibly well. And in fact, I think here, this if you play here, for instance, he will have a huge edge to go for the win. But then, somehow, in the game, after a few, I think, inaccuracies, suddenly things slip away from his hand. And he needs to defend to make sure he doesn't get lost here, right? So now, the momentum shift. Takes, a6, King u1, run king away. Fair enough, right? And in the game, king d2 was queen 4 was play. Here, so king d2 is a much better choice to play at this point. I guess queen d4 is somewhat the same. It's not easy here to say what is differences between these two moves, but I guess that king d2 can avoid problem in the game, right? For instance, knight e5 right now, or bishop d4, bishop b4, and the queen go here, queen e4 here, right? And queen g2 is unavailable, which prevent Black's ideas like in the game. Queen d4. It's different move order, but you can see the differences, right? That is why chess is so damn hard. Knight e5. Obviously, this is not working because of the rook is hanging. So queen d2 in the game, g2 with a pretty simple threat. Queen d8, king here, and queen a5 will be dubious because this one, and now it is Black who won the game on this pot, isn't it? So in the game, they play queen f2, queen d5, queen d4, queen g2. And now the engine believes that Ding can still go for the win with queen e3. Queen e3. And then he can play bishop to d4, bishop to here later on, trying to swap up the bishop, the strong knight in the center. Black may play here, but then we'll play here, right? And the knight here can be challenged. Objectively speaking, I must agree that it still looks quite hard to win here, and it will be like a tough fight to convert this one into the win, but he can still go for the win, I guess. In the game, I think Ding underestimated position right here, and he opted for perpetual. Queen e5. And now, move 40, rich. In the game, Ding instantly went for the repetition, but then Gukesh have some thoughts. Queen a2. Checks and keep on going the game. In fact, this one is also inaccurate. Here, so Gukesh must understand that he is somewhat worse, and going for a draw here should be the objectively best choice. But, once again, we must give credit for him for going for a win, whatever it takes, right? And for his, I think, fighting spirits. For me, that is a nice thing to be seen because, in general, I think Ding now just want to play safe and he will not just take so much risks. But seeing Gukesh playing for the win every single game gives, I think, the game some kind of very interesting element and make the match become more interesting, right? Queen e2, c2, queen e6 right here, queen d8, go for the pawn, queen e5, b3, rook c1, and queen d5. We gotta start at positions when in reality, although white is up on this change, this pawn here can always create some ideas that can be so annoying, right? I'll show for instance, let's say h4, b2. And now if rook goes away, so rook b1, knight c4 can be deadly, right? So the pawn on b2, on b3, and also the strong pieces, the weak king on d2 here, I think give Black some really good compensation for the exchange. In fact, queen a7 is the only way here to keep on going for the win. But then queen g2 here again with his threats, and I think the win is still very, very tough. I guess the biggest chance earlier last this position right here, when queen to d6, and queen, maybe bishop d4, this ideas here can be good for him, I guess. But even here, the engine give out a very interesting line with knight f3, queen g2. Queen f1 and Queen d3, when the game now become extremely messy. In the game, the players settle for bits at this point. Queen a4 checks. Here, b2, bishop a2, takes the pawn obviously, and here, here, and here. And the game ended in a draw. After the game, I did spend some time to watch the players' interview. Somehow, so the fun thing is that they underestimate his chance, and Gukesh also overestimates his chances. So even though I think, as you can see, the match does have some inaccuracies, right? The match doesn't really have like a very high quality that people may expect from the world champion. It is still very interesting, and I think we only have 6 games left. Things will even get more interesting when it's getting closer to the end, right? Once again, so I just wish the best and the best luck for both players right here. And I hope that people can keep on seeing some good chess for now. Isn't it? So we'll see you later. Good luck for things, and hopefully you enjoy my recap. And peace.